Here we go. Big full moon plus, plus, plus. You won't want to miss this broadcast. There's a lot going on. August of 2024. Welcome. This is Gretchen Heidel, full-time astrologer, life coach, Reiki master, and so much more. And I am here going over this big full moon in August. It's going to be occurring in the astrological sign of Aquarius. It's a super moon. It's the full sturgeon moon. It is the blue moon. There's a lot going on with this particular full moon. And if you have been watching me for the last several months, I've been talking about August 19th, August 19th, August 19th as being possibly one of the more difficult days of 2024. That's right, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes with this particular full moon. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so for more updates like this. I have been taking a little bit of a lighter summer this summer. I haven't been posting as much, but I am definitely going to be ramping it up as we get into the fall. So we are having the supermoon in August, and it's August 19th, but really it started the week before this astrological energy because it's not just the full moon. There is a lot going on behind the scenes. One of the big things that we have behind the scenes of this full moon is Jupiter is going to form a square with Saturn, and that is big headlining news anyway, because they hardly ever square each other. The last time it happened was back in between 2015 and 2016. This is going to be the first of 3 squares total between Jupiter and Saturn. And why this is so important is because they came to a conjunction, a peak, during the pandemic, and back in 2020 they were conjunct each other. In fact, it was called the Great Conjunction, and that was the whole thing that was going on behind the scenes during the election time. And you might have remembered me saying, make sure that you vote for the vice president that you like, because potentially any president that is elected under that time tends to have a historic trend of not finishing their term, like JFK and Abraham Lincoln and all kinds of things. So we are here now at their very first square since they formed that conjunction back in 2020 period time frame during the pandemic. That was one of the many, many things going on during the pandemic in Capricorn. So now they're coming together in a square formation, which is like a 90-degree angle, and they are not getting along. So Jupiter currently is in Gemini, Saturn is currently in Pisces. These are the mutable signs, go with the flow, that kind of thing. And so they are not getting along right now. And so having them behind the scenes squaring each other is considered to be quite contentious. However, leading up the week before, these two are coming into being square. On Wednesday, the 14th, Jupiter formed a conjunction with Mars. So Mars, what ended up happening was Mars highlighted both of them. So on Wednesday, Jupiter formed a conjunction with Mars in Gemini. So they're together in Gemini. Mars is the god of war. Jupiter makes everything bigger. Then we get into Friday, and that's on the 16th. Mars is forming a square with Saturn. Woo! And because Jupiter's forming a square with Saturn. So if Jupiter and Mars are hanging out together, they're both forming a square with Saturn. So there's a lot of contentious energy even the week before this big full moon. So I've been talking about this for like 3 months now. I mean, this is a headlining event as far as the astrology goes. And unfortunately, it's not entirely positive. In fact, it's pretty darn challenging. It's pretty darn intense. I know we'll see a lot of people going, oh, it's an opportunity for this and this. You know what? Of course, it could be an opportunity for things. Absolutely. But it's also really, 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 it's going to just be, it's a bit, even if, let me just say this, even if it's not intense in your life, it might be intense in your partner's life or your sibling's life or your best friend's life or your neighbor's life, and then that would spill over. See, so when the universe kind of leans this way where it's like more challenge than opportunity necessarily, we have to kind of roll with the punches a little bit. We have to be flexible because remember, these are the mutable signs. So we need to embrace that flexibility because we are going to need quite a bit of it. Okay, so then going fast forward into Sunday on 8/18, then we have another conjunction forming, and that's going to be between Sun and Mercury. And they're forming a conjunction together in the astrological sign of Leo because we're still in Leo season. But they're both going to form, Sun and Mercury in Leo are going to form squares, Uranus. And so Uranus is in Taurus. So now we're pulling in fixed energies. We have mutable energy, we have fixed energy. And so now we're pulling in some fixed energy. You know, and so this is a lot to deal with. I want to actually start showing you the chart just so that you guys can visualize it, because if I just kind of list off all of these things, it might get a little confusing and people might get a little lost. So I want to give you visual learners out there some visuals so that you can really see what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the chart of Monday, the day of the full moon, but you can see these are all active right now. Okay, so we have Mars forming the conjunction with Jupiter, right? And so that's going on. They're both going to be squaring Saturn here, which is in Pisces. Okay, so that's the contentious square there. And then we have the Sun forming a conjunction with, actually it's a triple conjunction. The Sun, Mercury retrograde, and you have to remember Mercury's retrograde during all this, and Vesta, which is safety. Home and hearth and safety, all in Leo. Okay, so these three are all together and they're all forming a square currently with Uranus. Okay, see how there's big red lines there, and that's Uranus. Yeah, that's Uranus right there in Taurus. That's 27 degrees. So now we're getting into this full moon energy because the sun and the moon are always opposite of each other at the time of full moons, right? So the sun's 27 degrees Leo, but then wait a minute, Mercury is also there, Vesta is also there. So all three of these are actually opposing this full moon, not just the sun like it usually is, just the sun. Now we have three planets opposing this full moon in Aquarius. So 27 degrees Aquarius. You can see 0 to 30, 0 to 30, roughly 0 to 30. So 27 degrees is right at the end of Aquarius. So where is Aquarius in your astrological chart? Where's Leo in your astrological chart? Especially if you're born towards the end of Aquarius or Leo, you're really going to be in the heart of this energy. During this broadcast, video, I'm going to be mentioning a lot of signs and a lot of planets. So if you hear your one of your big three, sun, moon, rising sign, or if you know your Venus or your Mars, and I say one of these signs, you're going to know that this is going to affect you on some kind of a personal level because it's starting to interact with some of your planets. Now, if I don't mention any of your signs, lucky you might be spared from some of this really intense energy. But like I said, it could spill over into your life. Hey, it could just even be the driver that's in front of you or the driver that's behind you that's having the bad day and blah, blah, blah. So we really have to kind of watch some of this energy because it's very incendiary. I mean, it's just going to take a little match to kind of make things kind of really blow out of proportion. So we have to watch that because we can be feeling this feeling. I'm going to get back to the full moon for a second, and then I'm going to go into this other triple conjunction that we have here. Okay, that's actually, it's triple conjunction, and that's going to be between the south node of the moon, which is the upside down U character, Black Moon Lilith, and Juno. Now we have some relationship stuff, past life stuff. Black Moon Lilith is always intense and she makes us feel a little bit, really, really spicy. This is all in Libra, okay? And this is in the beginning part of Libra especially, which is of course opposing all this stuff in Aries, the north node of the moon in Aries specifically. Now, So now we have some past life stuff. South node of the moon is past life, karma, something that, was either in your personal past or, like I said, a past life. Juno, which is your ideal marriage partner, that has a romantic connotation to it in that. And then we get spicy Black Moon Lilith. Now, if you've been a regular follower of me, you know that Black Moon Lilith is intense. She can be controlling. She can be jealous. She can just be wild, and we have already Uranus, into the mix, who's also literally called the wild card. So Black Moon Lilith and Uranus both kind of coming in. Whew, this is real spicy. And so we have all that going on in between all of this. It is just quite a lot of energy, astrologically speaking. So what is going to happen on Sunday? Sun and Mercury, like I said, and Vesta are all coming together. They're all going to square Uranus on that day. And then between Sunday, Mercury is going to square Uranus. And then Monday, the Sun is going to square Uranus. So both of them are squaring Uranus. Uranus is the wild card, unexpected events, disruptions, something crazy that comes out of nowhere. I always say, look, you could unexpectedly win the lottery by surprise, yay. But it has this connotation to it, because remember, Uranus is shakeups, unexpected events. This is for sure earthquake activity. And I heard before the broadcast, before this video, recording the video, that Russia had an earthquake right off the eastern part of Russia, 7.0 earthquake. But there's bound to be some earthquake kind of stuff, and strange storms and things like that. Earthly kind of things can happen that are sort of shocking, right? Uranus is electricity. Gosh, Mercury retrograde is all the stuff. It's electricity. It's electronics. It's how we stay connected. So it's like our cell phones and our laptops. It for sure is planes, trains, automobiles, and transportation. So we really got to watch this. Mercury is currently in Leo, like I said. And so for sure, Leo is all about, kind of having the ego a little bit and sometimes being a little feisty. It's a fire sign. So we have to, mind our P's and Q's with it. Again, this energy, and Leo can be quite dramatic sometimes. So, and if you think about communicating like a lion, with Mercury being in Leo, that can be roaring like a lion, and that can be, kind of putting it out there. So we really, I can't say it enough, we really have to watch all that. And then on Monday, we have another planet getting involved with everything, and that would be Venus. Venus is going to form a square with Jupiter. So now we got Venus squaring Jupiter. Venus is our love life for sure. This is in Virgo now, so pay attention, Virgos. Venus is going to be forming a square with Jupiter in Gemini. Also, that week, next week, Mars and Venus are going to form a square with each other, and that's going to be on the 22nd, on Thursday. These two are squaring each other, but you can see they're already squaring each other. See, all of this is really going to be active for almost 2 weeks. And the Jupiter square Saturn thing has really been active since the end of July. I'm going to circle back to Jupiter square Saturn, because that's the crux of the kind of problem here. And then really what's happening is Mars and Venus are interacting with Jupiter and Saturn. And so it is a lot. And then Venus is also not only going to square Saturn, Venus, what Venus is going to do is also oppose, here's Venus, is also going to oppose Saturn. So this is definitely problems in the love life. This is, we're not feeling loved. Saturn's in Pisces, okay, just to remind you guys. And Saturn's retrograde too. And then we got Venus up here opposing Saturn down here. And so that's a yearly opposition, but it's just so happened to be thrown in the mix with all of this other stuff going on. And so Venus, wants to feel love and wants to have, a relationship and wants to have commitment. And Saturn does wants commitment, but usually there's like, you might be feeling like, alone. lonely. This is definitely feeling lonely. This is definitely about wanting to have a commitment, but maybe somebody's unavailable, or maybe like your spouse, your partner, your crush is not really around very much right now, or not very responsive. People right now, it's interesting because, this Mars and Jupiter is in Gemini, and you think people would be very talkative and whatever, and they kind of are. But when it comes to the feelings and it comes to the love life and all that, there could be some strife here. This Venus doesn't even have to be romantic, just to remind you. It's just love in general. It's relations in general. So you just tread very cautiously and lightly. This is not the time to say, I really want to have a big talk, although it's probably people are going to be feeling that right now, because we want to accomplish big things during big energies. But the energy is just so much that it can very quickly unravel into something that, the other person might feel pressured, or you might feel pressured, or there might be ultimatums thrown out there without even really thinking things through, especially since Black Moon Lilith is activated, Juno's activated, Venus is activated. And Mars is even passion and sexuality, that's activated. So we really have to watch. That's a lot of our personal feelings, and we might feel forsaken, while Venus is opposing Saturn, that can happen too, for sure. Now, the crux of this Jupiter square Saturn thing is really testing us. Jupiter, again, makes everything bigger. Saturn is obstacles, delays, life lessons, karma, and it's our structures. It's really like how we want to, build everything for the future. Remember, this is the first of 3 squares between them. The first square is always the problem, okay? That's always the hardest one. The second square is the homework. We're still working on from the first time. We're still working on that. And that second square is coming, sorry to say, the day before Christmas, 12/24. That's the peak of that second square. And then the third square is really kind of the outcome, so if you think about the first one is kind of the new problem, the second one's the homework, and then the last one is the outcome. And that's going to be on June 15th of 2025. Now, the first 2 squares are going to be taking place, like I said, Jupiter's in Gemini, Saturn's in Pisces. Again, that's also going to be the case for the second square. But the third square, by that time, Jupiter's going to be in Cancer and Saturn's going to be in Aries. So, something to look forward to if you're a Cancer or an Aries. But there's a lot of energy there, around those squares. And we're going to see a lot of things on the news. This is going to be a very active 2-3 weeks. This is what I feel is contributing or causing the stock market to go wonky, and for stocks to go up and down and get real volatile. It's also going to be real spicy for politics. Now, the Democratic convention is literally on Monday, on the day of all this stuff. So I am really hoping that they are stepping up security, because again, violence I don't care if it's Republican, Democrat, Independent, it's not the way to go. And so I did get a hit and a feeling intuitively that there is going to be somebody that's apprehended that is trying to get to the Democratic convention, has a plan and whatever. So I'm putting that out there publicly, but that is what I do feel. And I do feel that they're going to apprehend this person far from the scene. They're not really going to get very close, but that's what I feel. But it's going to be really spicy. So we have to watch that. And again, it's not just this day, but I just want to give you guys, I know a lot of astrologers don't show this stuff, but I'm going to show you because I like to do that. Why withhold the information? Okay, so this is my calendar for the month, my astrological calendar, and everywhere I highlighted is a big deal. It's like something important or something that's like a bigger deal. But look at that day. This whole Monday, like the whole thing is highlighted. So just to let you guys see, if you really look at that, it's the whole, there's just so much. And I even say, like, look, even if it was something that was happy or fun or positive, like let's say it's a children's party with there's like 20 kids and there's farm animals and there's like a merry-go-round and a bouncy castle and streamers and party makers and noise and fireworks. That's all good things. Too much of it, it's going to be headache city. It's going to just be too much. So that's how you should sort of treat this energy, is that there's just so much going on right now. Like I said, it just has so much potential. Now, is it all negative and bad? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jupiter can be positive at times. Jupiter really wants to have some good outcomes here. It's just Jupiter is all about beliefs, and Saturn is really digs his heels in. And so this is about to blow up something in our lives in reference to our beliefs, or maybe something is kind of, not going quite as planned because Saturn likes to have plans, and then maybe the plans are getting wonky. Really what I think we're supposed to be doing is revising something in our lives. And again, this cycle started back during the pandemic, 2019 and 2020, when Saturn and Jupiter were together in Capricorn. This is their first square that they've encountered since that time. And we're just reevaluating something that started back then. So if you think in your life, what started back then, 2019 to 2020, now we're going to be revising something. That's what squares do. They challenge us to revise it. Is that always bad? No. Sometimes it's just like, I need to change this thing. And then it's no big deal. But sometimes it really is a massive overhaul, and then we got to really look at our lives and really look at things that we're doing. And that's what this is all about. Now, because of the fact that this is Aquarius full moon, let's get back to the full moon because we can't forget that. That's a super moon, and it's also going to be a blue moon. Now, there's two definitions of blue moon. One is where there's 2 full moons in a month. And then another is where there's one extra full moon per quarter. And that's this particular blue moon this is the extra full moon, if you will, in the quarter. And so it is also the sturgeon moon, like I said. And so it's going to be super moon close to the earth, which means it's going to be looking huge. Okay. So if you get a chance to take some photos, and also in the Northeast, there's a lot of smoke from the Canadian wildfires. So the moon has been a reddish color lately. So that could be quite striking if you guys like to take pictures like I do of the sky. It might be a super red moon, and that could be kind of cool. But it's 27 degrees Aquarius. And then, like I said, during this full moon time, Uranus is involved. Why am I saying that? Because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. And I've nicknamed Uranus the change maker. So we have the change maker really activated. Aquarius is the change maker. Uranus is the change maker. It's the wild card. It's something that we need to revise and to switch it up and change it. Now, that's in fixed signs. So we have Leo, and we have in the sun, is Leo, Mercury retrograde, Vesta, all in Leo. And then we have the full moon, which is in Aquarius, and that's the change maker. So there's something here we need to really think about working on and revising and revisiting, and like maybe we thought we had this whole thing figured out and now we don't, So it just depends on, again, where all these planets are in your astrological chart in order to figure this out and to harness the energies in a little bit more of a positive way. Can they be harnessed in a positive way? Absolutely. A big change in life, like I said, could be winning the lottery. It could be getting a new relationship. It could be all these things, although you shouldn't be doing that during Mercury retrograde. But I mean, there's a lot of things that are getting switched up. And so this is time to lean into the change. This is time to lean into the flexibility. This is the time to embrace change and go with the flow and things like that. This is not the time to kind of dig our heels in and, do all that kind of stuff. Saturn, likes to have new structures, likes to sort of, Saturn's kind of like the productivity, time management guy, he likes to kind of do those types of things. So that could help us. It's just that whenever Uranus and Saturn, and then we got Jupiter, and then we got all this stuff, it's just a lot all at one time. So this is the time for at least these 2 weeks, if not if not even more than that until the end of August, really, that we just really want to be a lot more, just like I said, open-minded and flexible and all that, and be and really harness our inner patience, because Mercury retrograde and Uranus are going to be forming a square with each other, and that's for sure going to ramp up the electronic stuff and the malfunctioning stuff and all that, all of those types of things. You might notice that I'm using my old-fashioned wired headset for this broadcast, because even my own cell phone is just really acting. I have been on all kinds of phone calls about my cell phone this since this Mercury retrograde. So it's kind of acting, activating it. Now, if there's one kind of piece of good news that I can give you, as we get over this hump of Monday, really, because Monday is the peak. It's like the end of the 4th of July fireworks. It's like on Monday. It kind of gets a little quieter. I'm not going to say all this energy just dissipates all at once. I mean, if we have a merry-go-round and a bouncy castle and pizza and kids and all those types of things, that doesn't all dissipate at the same time. But it will start to kind of come down, a little bit. And kind of towards the end of this Mercury retrograde, by the way, Mercury retrograde ends on April 28th, and that's 5:14 p.m. Eastern time. So if you like to write that on your calendar, that's it. As we get towards the latter part of the Mercury retrograde, it actually does calm down a little bit, or so that's good. So it's like, this is a big hump that we have to kind of get, sort of over this, and then it'll sort of, get back to more normal stuff. However, remember, this Jupiter-Saturn thing doesn't go away very quickly. It was active in July, August, and it'll be active even still in September. It's just that once we get over the peak, remember what I always say, it goes up to the top of the mountain, and then it goes over, and then it comes down on the descent time. And so, it'll start to, kind of get a little easier as we get over the hump of that. But yeah, I mean, I for sure, I mean, I know that I said that maybe there might not be as much opportunity around this time, but there could be for sure. Opportunity sometimes comes in the middle of chaos, I mean, like, I'll give you an example. Let's say like things are going really chaotic with your work, for example, Saturn's work. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get a new job or a new opportunity in the middle of, like, you hate this place and you want to quit and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then boom, you have a new opportunity that comes in. That could be, because we're supposed to be changing something. Remember, we're supposed to be looking for new opportunities or whatever it is. So I won't lie, this is not easy energy, I'll say. Now, remember, it's the full moon too. So full moon is also just a standalone. Just the full moon itself is intense. And it's going to be in Aquarius. Aquarius is the humanitarian. Aquarius is make the world a better place. Aquarius is an air sign. It's a fixed sign. And so this is all about more cerebral sort of thoughts and intellect and ideas and things like that. And we could really get some good downloads in reference to that. Again, the only sort of problem is when the moon first enters into Aquarius on Saturday the 17th, the very first planet it really, really interacts with is Pluto, and that's they're gonna form a conjunction. The full moon and Pluto are gonna form a conjunction on Saturday night at 6:13 p.m. Eastern time. So that's just a wave of intensity right there, just even of itself. And then we get into Sunday, and then we get in all the stuff on Monday. So I mean, that's not necessarily super fun with the moon conjunct Pluto. And that's super, super duper intense, time. So if you get into a little funk or you feel a little weird, I mean, if you get weepy or if you all of a sudden have a wave of anger, it's all of this is kind of normal stuff. Now, remember what I say about this type of energy. It's like a three-legged table. So if somebody already has mental illness, addiction, some kind of instability in their life, for sure, this just adds to the pile, and then boop, like a three-legged table, down they go, and then that can really cause issues. But if you're normally a very grounded person, a person who, you're feeling pretty okay and everything's good, you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Aquarius is the ankles, and also the circulatory system of the body. So think about veins. So, you want to watch your ankles. I did hear of somebody that broke their ankle this week. So just, cancel clear. Just watch that. Leo is the heart and spine. We have so many planets here and so many signs that are interacting here that, it might be a little hard to say, but definitely if you are an Aquarius, if you're a Leo, if you are a Scorpio or Taurus, you'll be in the heart of this full moon for sure. You'll be feeling all that energy. But like I said, we got Virgo and Pisces, we got Aries and Libra, we've got Gemini and Sagittarius, so they're all the mutable signs. I mean, we've got a lot of activity here in general. The only planet that really is not too involved in this is Neptune. That's the only planet that is really not too involved. And other than the full moon, forming the conjunction with Pluto's not really otherwise, other than Saturday night, otherwise not too involved with this either. But that's it. All the rest of the planets are involved in this like sort of mix up and mash up. So, I mean, again, that is quite a bit of energy. So we just want to, like I said, be cautious, discerning, watch that. And then also harnessing our inner Aquarius. Now, the archangel associated with Aquarius is Archangel Uriel, who I just love, Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel is often depicted holding some kind of a light or a lantern or some way, because Archangel Uriel is said to illuminate the path in front of us. So as we're walking, through the path of life, Archangel Uriel is said to open doors, to illuminate. If you've been kind of confused or, not sure about something, Uriel can actually bring clarity to our lives and to the situation. So that's a good thing. And for sure, if you want to sort of harness or play around with, I'm looking at my stones here. I had laid out some stones and now I'm not sure where I put them. Amethyst is a good stone for this particular full moon. Here's a very light colored amethyst, but this is amethyst, which is usually a more deeper purple sort of stone. I have one that I love to show because it has the line there. So this has the double terminated amethyst, but again, it's a very light colored amethyst. And so amethyst is very good for addiction, very good for depression, very good for just kind of grounding, getting in touch with your crown chakra. Okay. That's all good amethyst stuff. Definitely garnet is the birthstone of Aquarius, and that could be good. Citrine could be good. Archangel Uriel's color is yellow. And so that would be good to sort of harness that beautiful energy from Archangel Uriel is yellow. So like a citrine or yellow topaz or something, that could be good. And then if you're like, hey, I don't have any of those stones, I would go dark stones, because dark stones are grounding. So any kind of dark stone, an onyx or hematite or tourmaline, any of these dark stones, jet, all of those are definitely, I have hematite on, I have onyx on, and I do have labradorite. Labradorite's another good Aquarius stone right here. So any of those you could, meditate with or ground with, sleep with it under your pillow, any of those things. Now, speaking of sleeping with things under your pillow, if you wrote out your new moon manifestation list, this is the time to burn or destroy the list. The peak, the height, the maximum that this full moon is going to be on Monday, August 19th. Peak of it is going to be at 2:26 p.m. Eastern time, so earlier than that if you're out on the West Coast or plus or minus wherever you live. And so it's going to be right in the afternoon. And so after the peak of the full moon, it's good to burn or destroy your list, put it through the shredder, however you like to do it, and release it out to the universe. Okay. that you get your prayers answered and all that good stuff. Okay, to burn or destroy your new moon manifestation list during this time. Just know that it has a lot of energy. You might want to wait until later in the evening or maybe even Tuesday to do it. That could also work too. But just keep in mind, I just wanted to get on, do a quick broadcast or a quick video and let you guys know that this is what's happening. So if you've been feeling a little weird this week or last week or whatever, and even going into next week, this is why, because there is just so much energy happening during all of this. Like I said, though, after the peak of it, after all this kind of goes, it is going to start to get a little quieter. And actually, then some of the planets actually start to interact in a positive way. So on, yes, on the 22nd, we have Venus forming a square with Mars, but that's not a terrible square. And then we get into the 24th on Saturday of August. Mercury is going to form a sextile with Mars. So, I mean, and then we can't forget, we're going to enter Virgo season, which is on August 22nd. At 10:55 a.m. Eastern time. So we're going to switch it up. We're going to start switching. So we just have to kind of get through this. I'm just personally laying low. I'm just personally, like I said, prayers, meditation. I'm doing this video for you guys, and then I'm just kind of taking it easy and just trying to stay out of the fray as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to do some cards here because I brought my cards, of course, to let you guys know what do the angels need you to know about this particular full moon. It's a general pulling of cards, so it may or may not resonate with you. But if it does, I'm happy to help you. And so I'm going to use my Moonology cards, which are new moon, full moon cards. And so what do we need to know about this particular fully loaded full moon? What do we need to know? Gibbous moon, you're very close to achieving your goal. Okay, you're very close to achieving your goal. Yeah, we just need to tweak some things, really. I mean, that's what the deal is with this particular full moon. My dog walked behind me and made the wind chimes go. It wasn't a ghost, just so you know. It was a pug. Okay, and then what else do we need to know about this particular full moon? I'm going to use my regular cards that I use during readings. Ugh, of course. All right, well, it was the Tower card. So, okay. Tower card, there's something that is a structure that is like something that we built to keep ourselves safe. The card itself, the Tower card, tends to be a little bit of a scary card or the dreaded card, right? But really, this is about safety. Like, if you look at the card itself, right, this little guy is like falling from the top, and it was struck by lightning. Uranus is lightning, by the way. And he built this tower to keep himself safe. It looks like a big medieval tower. He built that to keep himself safe. And then the message of the card is safety is an illusion. Nothing really keeps us safe. And so this card is about a big change, but it's often an unexpected change or possibly even an unwanted change. So we have to lean into change with some of this. So again, some of that, some people might resonate with that message and some not. And so you have to just remember it's a generalized card picking. And then I'm going to pick an Archangel card, one more card for this particular full moon and all the stuff. Okay. What do we need to know about that? One more card from the Archangel deck. Oh, here you go, beloved one. Okay, that's a beautiful card, beloved one. Archangel Chamuel, I am helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. Okay, Archangel Chamuel. Now, I have to say, like I said during this broadcast, there's a lot of love, planets involved with this. Juno and Venus, Black Moon, Lilith, Mars, even, So there's a lot of stuff here. So I personally, in my sessions this week, I'm just going to say, I haven't had this many calls since the pandemic, emergency calls in this past week that we came out of. And it's because of this energy ramping up. A lot of the questions and a lot of things that people needed to talk to me about were pertaining to relationships or love, or interactions in some way. It was a lot of personal kind of stuff going on there. So yeah, I would say a prayer to Archangel Chamuel in reference to if your relationship is struggling right now. try not to, this is not the time to fix it or solve it. This is the time to just let it be. Just kind of let it, chill. And wait until another time. Wait until a better time. Look, we do have a new moon coming up in the beginning of September. That's going to be a micro moon, because whenever there's a full moon, super moon, it means that the next moon is a micro moon. But it doesn't matter. It's going to be on September 2nd. That's going to be the new moon in Virgo, sun in Virgo, moon in Virgo. So that might be a good time to do some manifesting and intention setting and all that good stuff. And certainly after Mercury is no longer retrograde, that's also another thing, because remember, whatever happens during Mercury retrograde tends to reverse, or something flips, afterwards. So hang in there. I want you guys to have patience. Just know there's going to be an urgent feeling like, let's do this, or let's say this, or let's do, pushing. That's the universe pushing us, but we don't have to lean into that. We can just say, you know what? I'm going to wait until another day. I'm going to wait until a better time. And then just lay low, make yourself busy, nothing too crazy or dangerous. Don't run around the house with scissors in your hands, because that's not the good time to do that. And just sort of, like I said, pray, meditate, do some yoga, think gentle, relaxing, all that good stuff. Okay, I hope you guys found this to be helpful. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my astrological YouTube channel. And also, if you're looking for a personalized astrological reading, definitely feel free to check out my website. I am doing private sessions. Good luck. Namaste. Happy full moon.